We're back here, Don and Dave. Been a little break after the holidays here.
Yeah, this is The Open Cut, and it is Wednesday, December 11th. There's been a little bit of a lull in the UFC recently, but they did just come back. We had the DC card this weekend. We've got a pay-per-view coming up, and then they're going to South Korea. So the only one we're going to start covering is that DC card, headlined by Jairzinho, Rozenstruik, and Alistair Overeem. And we were talking just before this. This was a sneaky good watch.
Yeah, this is a cool card. I think there was a lot of names people knew, but there was a ton of outcomes I didn't think, man, which made it the fun card it was.
A lot of unusual stuff. A ton of unusual stuff, and we'll get through all of them.
Yeah.
But let's start with the main event. Alistair Overeem and Jairzinho. And I really think that this was... I couldn't believe that there's been 3 fights that have been this close, this late finished.
Yeah, late.
We just saw the Zombie and Yair fight. Now we got Jairzinho with 4 seconds left, finishes Alistair Overeem in a fight he was certainly going to lose, comes out of nowhere, blam, blow, and busts his mouth as wide open as I've ever seen.
That was nasty cut. I think that's gotten popular, man. People have done so many times well with it, like from Max Holloway days to let's throw down in the middle and get everybody excited about it, to where everybody knows if you brawl out at the end, 1, you could get a chance to get somebody out, and 2, it's going to be entertaining, so you got a better chance of getting a nice bonus check.
Right.
And they're knocking people the fuck out doing it.
Yeah, it's always nice to pick up a bonus if you can. And he had to have seen Overeem was looking very tired.
He got gassed quick.
Because he was not dominant in the fight, but he was certainly winning the fight. And then all of a sudden it was like, he's not moving well. And I think Rozenstruik's like, well, I got 1 chance left. If he's not moving well, he's not going to be able to react to it and capitalize. You picked Rozenstruik winning. Did you think it was going to go 5 rounds?
I didn't think it was going to go 5 rounds. I thought it was going to be early, like kind of opposite what Overeem's done here lately, like the Alexei Lenik, like landing a bunch of knees or lands something big and finishes him. Like Rozenstruik didn't get off a lot of giant shots that really did any actual impact to the fight at all early in the fight. Overeem played a really technical game, but that's all it takes, man.
I thought he was playing it perfect.
He didn't do anything nuts. He was very structured. He looked like a veteran, but that's the thing is when you know your only way is to put somebody away to win, and when you're in the heavyweight division, there's no better division for that. It just takes 1, and it actually was 2. He landed that left to catch him and get him off kilter, and then the fucking right come in, lost a lip, and yes, do I think maybe he could have taken 1 or 2 more punches on the ground? At that point, I don't think so with that lip and that drop. That's a big man that dropped quick. I mean, Rozenstruik probably could have landed another and the outcome would have been the same. Might have been unnecessary damage, which we've talked about this year.
Hard to say. I mean, you see him pop right back up, but he's clearly not with it.
No.
But how often is someone not with it in the course of a UFC fight?
Well, especially in the heavyweight division.
I think Jairzinho sold the fight. Sold the end. I don't think it was a bad stoppage. I think it could have gone either way, and I think the way Rozenstruik walked off afterwards is really what did it.
Kind of gave a signal before the signal.
Yeah.
Like him walking off, like this is done. A Mark Hunt situation.
Yeah, and you don't want to hurt someone more than you have to, but at the same time, I wouldn't have been convinced that Alistair Overeem wasn't coming right back up to hit me in the face.
That may be true. The problem is when you drop straight down and you're over top of him and you're already pulling back, that means the instinct kicked off. He's like, he's defenseless. And then the ref jumps in just as quick. So in my mind, the ref should have stayed back and been like, go. Those guys have done that. So he jumped right in on top of Alistair. So then at this point, Rozenstruik's trying to swing on the ref. That's not going to happen.
He had a weird... Why would you run in like that if you're not going to call it?
I think because when you're dealing with boys this big and guys that have been dropped and you've seen how they react when they're dropped, he dropped limp directly, almost cross-legged, like a giraffe, as he took that punch and his lip exploded. At that point, in the heavyweight, they're going to stop it. Yeah. We've had this conversation. So I think that's unfortunately what happened here is big men fall hard, but at the same time, it was noticeable.
I think it's the right call. I really do. I think he knocked him out. I thought
It was a
Dan
strange
Murgiata
way.
Came in with some strange language. He ran in, saw Alistair get up, didn't call the fight, saw that people were walking different ways, and I think they both thought the fight was over, but the ref hadn't called it yet, and then he called it. But I think it was the right decision either way.
I'm glad you brought that up about Dan Murgiata. At the end of this entire card, I want to go back and talk about him personally very quickly because there's a great point to that that's going to cover a lot in this card here in a minute.
Well, let's go ahead and talk about the Struve fight.
Yes. So Dan Murgiata, again, for anyone that didn't watch it, was the referee for this fight. Ben Rothwell, Stefan Struve coming back from retirement. Kind of exciting. Struve looked phenomenal coming out. Large leg kicks, range, keeping Ben off of him. Ben couldn't get in close. He looked great. Ben unaccidentally throws a left kick, cup kick, hard. Drops Struve down. Struve's down for almost a full 5 minutes.
His nuts are up in his stomach.
Literally in screaming pain. Goes back in. Probably a minute into the second round, Rothwell does it again. Even worse, he clips him, so it's not even direct. It's more on what just got hit, so it's like a daze. Drops Struve even harder. Then you have a situation now that he's going to decide if he wants to continue or can. Dan Murgiata, who's here talking to him, giving him his future path of what he should do and what he shouldn't do on what your outcomes are right now. I've never seen a referee in the entire time I've ever watched fighting influence a fight by giving options to a fighter.
Yeah, he was definitely leading him into continuing the fight. I mean, you expect, I know Herb Dean recently, he will come up and say, I'm not rushing you. And he'll say, you got 5 minutes, and he'll say, do what you want. Never, I think you're probably winning these first 2 rounds. There's only a minute and a half left in the round, then you get a minute off, and you got a minute and a half left before you have to make a decision. It seemed like he was really pushing him to keep fighting, which is strange. And it was weird. You saw him cover his mic when he did it, but you could still hear what he was saying. Like he did.
Commentators brought that up during the fight actually happening live, and then later talking about it after. And the thing is the reason I bring this up is Dan Murgiata just had a serious issue with Michael Venom Page over in Bellator.
Yeah.
Because allegedly he's called Michael under his breath a piece of shit, the N-word, some other inappropriate things. I think what's happening right now is Dan Murgiata is making some decisions that are so obvious and very just blatant that it's causing fights to change the feel of them, let alone outcome. And also now everybody's going to worry about when Dan Murgiata refs your fight, is it a problem? Is it going to be a situation you're not going to be treated fairly? And that's what struck in my mind is on one card that wasn't even a pay-per-view, we had Dan Murgiata with 2 fully visible issue endings to fights or initiations to it. I've never seen a referee spend that much time with a fighter down, groin shot or not. Mm-hmm. I've seen guys get kneed from the ground. They've not spent that much time with them.
Yeah. It is strange to see them, not the co-main and main, but it was the fight before the co-main and then the main, and he kind of botched the end of both. Not terribly in the main event.
No.
Like we said, it was just not decisive, which you want your referee to be, but he played a big role in that Ben Rothwell fight. So Ben Rothwell wins, Struve loses. Struve came back from retirement.
Yeah.
Struve gets finished like less than a minute after he starts fighting. It was almost instantly. Why did he come back from retirement, man? Like you said, he was doing well.
He was, and he looked great, and I was excited for him. You know, he's 31 years old. He's been in the UFC forever.
Since he, like, the week he turned 17 or something. Yeah.
So this is a guy that this is always known. We all know that story. You know, when you retire, you know, you can do a Uriah Faber where I'm half retired and I'm in the USADA pool, but when you pull away for health reasons, which he did for heart, which is a pretty big thing,
scary.
It's kind of wild to see somebody jump back into something that they had to leave, but maybe it just got so bad that that's where he needed to be.
I mean, it wasn't a long retirement, but
under 8 months. I mean, but here's my issue with it. Come back, take a little damage, had a terrible outcome of your fight to not your fault at all. Now what do you do?
You get two shots to the nuts. I mean, that's
that's a tough night. I mean,
that's the fight you're going to go on now.
That's the problem. Is where do you go from here? Do you come back and say I'm going to go into a big fight, or am I just going to say, well, you guys were right, I should have stayed out?
Yeah. So unfortunate for him. It was good to see him go out on a win. He had been on a losing skid, and now he's back to the losses. Let's see. I think my favorite fight of the night was Rob Font and Ricky Simone.
How couldn't it be?
That
It was
started out
action-packed.
the main card,
It was
but yeah,
action-packed.
it was fun to watch. Rob Font won, certainly, but it was always entertaining. The entire fight, that was a good one to watch, and I think this is a I had Ricky Simone as one of my big losers of the evening. Him and Alistair Overeem. I think he had a lot of hype behind him. He loses to Uriah in a big way, real quick.
Yeah.
When Uriah returns from retirement, and now losing to Rob Font. It's back to the kiddie pool, and we'll see you later. But I think it'll stick around.
Yeah, it's a shame because, I mean, they did have a lot of hype around him. He's fun to watch. Rob Font's just way more of a veteran and
Rob Font
technical
looks
to him.
fantastic.
And he looks great. And I see a lot of good things happen to Rob Font. And the thing is he's been around, bought his time. We'll cover here in a little bit some ideas on some fights of these fighters we talked about.
Right now,
Yeah.
Rob Font and Cody Garber, that's what you got. And I couldn't think of a better one, to be honest.
I love the mix-up. I love that both like to throw hands, but they both have a little different style. Rob's a little bit slower, figures you out. Cody's a bang and go in. And right there, either one of them beats each other. It's a great move for them in that division that's already moving fast.
That, or he fills in for Frankie.
Which is always on the card.
Yeah.
If he's healthy enough, he doesn't have a problem. Being a backup sometimes pays off, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, Lando Venata is a perfect example of when he fought Tony Ferguson and lost. It still blew his career up, and he came in out of nowhere. I think it's the same thing here: is be a backup that nobody's fought you yet at that caliber, and you've not fought that caliber.
Yeah, I think if he fills in for that Raleigh card, that's
monstrous.
That'd be good. We can still have that fight and give them both an opportunity for a big win.
What do you think then, going real quick back, what does Rothwell do after a type win like that and his last couple decision losses from him coming back out of basically retirement, being popped by USADA?
Again, I liked your pick with Tai Tuivasa. I really did. I think that they are both, I mean, Tai is on a losing skid.
Yeah, 3.
Ben Rothwell's getting these they're going decisions. Now this really kind of counts as a win, I guess. On his record, at least it does.
It's on paper.
But yeah, I like that fight a lot, and they'll both swing. I think it's going to be easier to knock out Tai than it is to knock out Ben.
Yeah, I mean, and
I'd like to see it.
Both of them got a chance. Yeah, it's a 50-50, man. So, yeah, I love that. So, cool. Well, and going back, I don't want to get into Overeem here yet. I'm going to give a couple weeks on that because I want to see how the healing and where his thought process is. But Rosenstrike, what would you like to see from all the talks now after this fight?
I mean, he seems to be the new Francis, right? He's the guy who's coming in the division and knocking out everyone. He didn't knock out Alistair Overeem to where we're not sure where his head is, but he split his head open.
He made a big impact.
And Francis wants to get back to fight. I don't know. I heard this week that Jairzinho is trying to wait a little bit longer probably than Francis wants to, but that's the fight I'd like to see. It makes the most sense. As far as Francis is concerned, that's the only contender that he hasn't fought that would be in the way of the next title fight, and I don't think that Stipe and DC are fighting anytime soon.
No.
There's a big logjam up there, and if Francis is looking for a new exciting contender, it's Jairzinho.
Yeah, and I think that falls right in line because the other thing is you're going to have a lot of guys here that are already getting ready to fight early in the next year that can make some changes like we always talk about. And 2, I don't want to see a situation that Francis gets upset and isn't offered fights that can help him out because he can move to another promotion. He's talking about it.
And right now there's really not fights.
And there isn't.
This would be the one.
This was about the only one because of the way he put Overeem away and how quick he's come up the rankings. The issue is the timing going to work out? Like everything that we deal with here. But yeah, no, perfect. I love all those picks on where we're at for those fighters. Let's change pace. Another card in there. Aspen Ladd finishing Yana.
That was a crazy fight too. She was fucking possessed, man.
Aspen came out faster than I've ever seen it on a mission. And hey, props to Yana for staying in there and taking a lot of that heat early and dealing with it. But the ground game of Aspen to hold her down and just short elbows and getting in those turtle positions and just keeping her down. And then came out that third round and just threw that left. Dropped her and beat the dog shit out of her.
And she's screaming the whole time. It was.
I think she's a woman on a mission now after that knockout from Durandamy, who is fighting Nunez this weekend. Aspen knows she could be right
her
there.
Spot. Yep.
And whether you think she's not ready or not, she is fired up because she was having the weight cut issues, stripping her body, trying to figure out what weight class to be at. I mean, dude, I'm telling you, that girl, I've been saying it, I really like her style to say, maybe not even in the next year, but she's going to start being in those bigger girl fights at this momentum.
Well, yeah, I don't know if she's probably one fight away from a title fight.
I think she's one more fight from actually being able to fight the true champion. So I'm thinking probably not till 8 or 9 months from now. Well, just the timing of fights with Amanda Nunez right now.
Yeah,
if Amanda Nunez wants to come back to Bantam, and by the way, a trade of belts.
Yeah.
So I had her fighting Juliana Pena just because that's another girl that's very similar to her, where they're at on schedules and where they've been at in the league. So. Yeah, I agree. One more fight, then you get to go and holler for the big girl.
Yeah, I got Aspen Ladd as my biggest winner of the evening, bigger even than Jairzinho, because she was at a point where she's the top contender, loses the Jermaine Durandamy, and
which was bad.
Could have been a slippery slope. You lose another one, and you're just another top fighter, but you're not the top contender. The way she looked in this fight made it clear. No, she is still the top contender. If you need to beat someone else, that's fine. Fight another fight first, so you're not coming in on a one-fight winning streak against a champion. But I think one fight again, she puts on a performance like that again, and she is certainly the top contender. Yeah,
that's a great point. I love the way she fights too. She's enjoyable for the bantamweight, so she's just another girl plugged in there that you can watch get lined up.
And then the other chick fight that was super entertaining was Michelle Rodriguez and Cynthia Calvillo.
So. It's just a shame Cynthia could not get her weight figured out.
Not even close.
4 pounds. She talked about it. I'm talking about it now. She's got to move to fly. She's got to move up to flyweight. You got to not have that chance. She's not that small of a girl. Yeah. If she's holding that much weight, she can hang with some flyweights.
Yeah.
And also, fight like you did in this fight with people where they're all about the same and do your grappling and stuff. She's still going to do a great job. Honestly, Michelle just played a better defensive game that made them basically null and void each other the whole time. There was a ton of grappling and Cynthia on top, but Michelle landed more shots during the fight.
Do you agree with the draw?
I do, because that's my point is Michelle landed the punches and the activity. Cynthia just basically did the ground control, I think. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I thought Michelle Rodriguez was obviously the better striker. She was piecing up on the feet.
Absolutely.
For the first 2 rounds. Cynthia had her moments in both those rounds, but Michelle won them both clearly. Do you think Cynthia wins the 3rd round 10-8? I kind of do.
Yeah, 100%.
I kind of do.
Yeah.
I think that...
and she might have done enough in one of the other rounds to stick out just enough.
No. It was the first 2 to Michelle, and then the 10-8 to Cynthia. I think that's the only way you can score a draw. So yeah, I was surprised because typically when it's a draw, I think I find a reason not to agree with it. But this one actually did.
Yeah.
And it was a fun fight. Michelle Rodriguez looked great until the last round, and Cynthia Calvillo looked like she was going to finish her in the last round.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, I would like to see similar fights to this, but I don't want to see this one again. And like you said, I don't think Cynthia should be fighting at this weight anyways.
No.
And it wasn't the only fight that ended a draw.
No, which is unbelievable. Having 2 fights in a night that ended in a draw, I mean, and then you have 2 potentially controversials at the same time. And I mean, I hate to darken another card, and it's not in a bad way, but it's just being honest, is 2 draws and 2 fucking controversial calls in a card, man, that's a lot. No wonder this card seems so scary and freaky.
Yeah, the other one, Song Yadong and Coach Stamen, I don't know that I agree with that one. And maybe that's because the commentary skewed my opinion of what was happening.
Sure.
But to me, it did not look like Song Yadong won 3 rounds or 2 rounds. He gave up that point for Neum when he was down.
Yeah, and that was fucking very obvious.
Yeah.
I mean, when he looked up, because didn't he seem like he looked over at the ref to check, and the ref like gave a thumbs up, but it was because he was giving a thumbs up because of the choke.
Yeah.
And then he just instantly landed the knee, and I'm like, no, he's not letting you know he's okay to knee.
Just go for it.
Yeah, just you know what? He's double grounded. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I think this card had a lot of this weird stuff mixed in that it kind of made it seem like this is kind of a fun card, even though like you had 2 draws and a bunch of decisions, like not that interactive.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah.
But there was good fights.
Yeah, that's a great point.
And one we didn't touch on, Bryce Mitchell, a twister. So we got a twister on this card too.
So, second twister in UFC history, and I know we were joking about it later. Who's the first twister ever in UFC history?
Diego Sanchez?
Korean Zombie.
Oh, it is.
On Escobar. Remember back in the day, Escobar came out of Tough, and he fucking twisted him. And I was looking at the way the twister fucks you up. Like, you can just blow every disc in your back on that, man.
Rip 'em
It's
up.
just a terrible... second twister, Bryce, Mr. McNasty. He looks sharp, man. He's got good ground game. I want to see him fight somebody bigger, but I don't want to see him just go in and get fucked up or starched for no reason.
Great White Sharks, yeah.
So Julio Arce is another guy I've been supporting a lot. I like him a lot. I like his long length and speed. He loves the ground game too. I liked him for Bryce. A guy that's been in there with a little bit of higher caliber, but Bryce is going to be around, dude. The dude's undefeated coming off a Tough.
Let's see. What else did you want to talk about on this card? Any other fights?
First fight of the night, Mokhtamed knocking out Trevor Smith. The young up-and-comer kid was so sharp all over a veteran that's been around a little bit, and that finish, knocking the mouthpiece out and just fucking making him go limp to start that card. I know I always say it, man, that knockout that night, I'm like, 1, I'm going to follow this kid a lot more because I haven't been following him that much, and 2, that is what I love seeing as a knockout out the gate. Because if I'm watching it, it's fucking automatically like, yes, there's going to be action tonight. And even though all the action this night wasn't the same, it gets me jacked up to see that all these young up-and-comers coming in just trying to bang out. Like, it makes you want to watch the prelims sometimes a little more.
Yeah, it's good when they have strong prelims. That helps the sport a ton.
Absolutely.
All right, let's see. We got some news since we last met. We'll start
before
with
Turkey Day.
Some fight announcements. John Jones is going to fight Dominic Reyes. This is what we thought was going to happen. It's going to happen early February. Yeah.
I just, it's the same song and dance, man.
That's how good he is.
And it's fine. If he wants to play around with another guy and act like it's going to be a challenge, that's fine. People are going to watch this John Jones, but there ain't nobody sitting in a room honest saying that Dominic Reyes is ready for the caliber of John Jones. There's been plenty of guys above Dominic Reyes who's been humiliated that would beat the dog shit out of Dominic Reyes.
So
Gustafsson got knocked out, clean the fuck out, and I can tell you right now, I will take Gustafsson out of retirement and put him in with Dominic Reyes, and he'll beat the dog shit out of Dominic Reyes.
So what is John Jones supposed to do?
No, we talked about it. There's nothing John Jones can do. I'm just saying to him, it's a nice payday.
Yeah.
Because the outcome is, once I'm done and I feel like I've cleaned out and pissed all over the carpet twice and let it dry.
Don't you think Ronda Rousey was the same way, though, until Holly Holm did something?
Yeah, the problem is...
It's a fight. All you need is one great...
Okay. Let me say this, though. John Jones' caliber and ahead-of-the-game knowledge for the last 10 years compared to Ronda Rousey that had one style fight of judo and armbar. There's girls right now in the prelims that would piece her up just because of the amount of volume and action and growth of the sport. Dominic Reyes is close. He's like lawn dart close, man. He's not fucking playing badminton close. Like, this is really, really far distance in experience. I would love to see an absolute upset like anything else in the world, but I think John Jones takes home an easy check and says, Dana, Happy New Year. I'm going to heavyweight, bro.
Yeah, I mean,
he
there's
stroked
not much
everybody from fucking 1 down to 8.
He has, I don't know. I don't know. But I watched that one because I love seeing greatness, so that's why you watch John Jones. Welterweight, Diego Sanchez and Michelle Pereira. This is a fun fight.
A fun fight. I wrote this on Twitter, man, on our page. I'm like, get ready for the absolute carnage of a savage mixed in with breakdancing. Because that's exactly what this is. It's going to be a breakdance intro with a guy yelling yes and just looking like he wants to slaughter everyone in a village. And then they go in, Someone's going to the hospital, man. There is no way a flying knee from Michelle is going to absolutely put him out. Diego Sanchez is flatlined like dead.
We'll definitely see a rolling thunder attempt.
Or Diego Sanchez just happens to land a huge shot and just puts this guy into an absolute ground and pound for 5 minutes.
Yeah,
and cuts him up so much and gasses him. That's where I'm going with it. Regardless, it's going to be fucking hilarious. But congratulations on the retirement, Diego. And thanks for all the great fights. Because there's no way he's coming out alive out of this or not retiring.
I mean,
dude, this is going to be a murder.
He seems to still want to do this. You think it's going to be a murder?
You can't if you can't walk. Okay, man? It's really hard to do MMA when you're paralyzed from the neck down because fucking, are you serious? Have you watched any of the fights against this man that you're trying to face? And Diego Sanchez is 5 years younger than my dad and still doesn't have a retirement plan.
Michel Pereira looked pretty bad his last fight.
Yeah, he also is murdering everybody and will get murdered to do it. So what better guy to match him up with? Another guy that says, I'll die in here. I mean, just, fuck, man. DVR rolling because this is going to be nasty.
All right. I think the most interesting fight that's been recently announced is Paul Felder and Dan Hooker.
Fuck. Not going to get any better.
I think this is definitely a good scenario for Hooker just based on rankings. He's going to get a highly ranked Paul Felder to fight against. And I think, honestly, like we talked about, I didn't see anyone ranked above Paul Felder taking a fight with him, and Dan Hooker's got some momentum behind him at least, so Paul Felder can build off that.
Yeah, and you're exactly right. The thing is, I thought I feared for Paul during Barboza. I fear for him to be more with Hangman Hooker.
I'm definitely picking Hooker in this
Yeah,
fight.
I mean, and trust me, you know me, I love Felder. Shout out to Felder. I don't know right now if Felder's going to have enough time to prepare with a guy that much bigger and that much longer. Because Dan gets on your back, Dan gets inside of you and lands that Vic punch where he gets in, breaks out of a scramble, and then clocks you.
And he's so long.
That's my thing is, Felder's fast and can get away from shots, but giving up, let's say, 6 inches, man, that's going to make a difference, which this is a badass Auckland fight to have on that card, man.
I know.
I mean, this is big. I mean, we could do that.
I think so.
Let's see how this podcast goes. But no, I mean, that's probably your best talent for talent fight called so far for next year. Honestly, in my mind.
Hey, I'm excited
until
about that
Adesanya Whitaker comes out.
Yeah, that's not a championship level fight, but that's what I'm really excited
damn near
to see.
Close.
And then Josh Emmett and Arnold Allen. That'll be interesting.
Yeah.
We'll see if Arnold Allen can finally get a finish, and Josh Emmett will always be looking for the finish. So,
Michael Johnson, shout out to you. Still picking your teeth and spit up.
And Arnold Allen has not lost yet in the UFC. So.
He finds a way to win, man. And if there's anybody that wants to stop that real quick, it's Josh Emmett.
Let's see. Who else we got? Lauren Murphy and Andrea Lee. Macy Chiassone's returning against Nico Montano. That's a well-made fight, I think. And then Ray Borg's returning against Rogerio Bontorin.
So Ray Borg's retirement.
Might be, man. He fell off hard after he fought Demetrius Johnson.
I mean, when you had the stuff that went through his life, and I couldn't imagine what they've been through, but Ray Borg was just eating guys from LFA for 2 seasons. And now he's fighting guys that are actually in his weight class and guys that have been ranked. I think they're kind of just saying, here's your pass, get on your train. Because I really don't think Ray is ready for this caliber. He looked great. That Khabib card is a guy from LFA, dude.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. But yeah, I mean, you don't have a lot of flyweights right now that are going to make more of a move than what this could do for Rodrigo. Honestly. He beats Ray Borg, a name.
At least it's a name.
It's a name, and you're already ranked. So, yeah, Macy Chiasson versus Nico Montano, I like that a lot. That'll be a show up or shut up for Nico to say, should I even be fighting anymore because she's a little bit older.
Yeah.
Andrea Lee and Murphy, man. I think that Lauren Murphy's violent, and so is Andrea Lee, and she's coming off that loss, so she's probably going to be a little bit angry. I'm really surprised she's still fighting as pretty as she is, and she's had a rough go. But Carolina Kovacevic coming back versus Yana Zimana. I'm not saying that right.
Jinan, I think.
Yeah, Jinan. But Yeah, man, that's another girl that's going to go bye-bye in that division. Some people are going to make some climbs because there's a lot of wins that she had that are now looking bad, and there's a lot of losses to her that aren't looking so bad either.
Yeah.
I mean, because she's beat some girls in the beginning that are like, what? And then all of a sudden just started getting depleted.
Yeah.
That Andrade knockout, I think, really, really fucked her career even worse.
And then a couple fighters that just got released from the UFC. Renan Barão, former champion, but we've had to have seen this coming. He's been struggling for a long time.
I love Renan Barão, man, but the weight cut issues, the due diligence or just responsibility that somebody needed to do with him didn't happen. I mean, this guy was looking to be one of the greatest bantamweights of all time. His Eddie Weiland spinning back kick knockout. I mean, his fights before that with like Lineker, all these just animals in that division, and just to hold off everybody and TJ come in. Renan Barão had a great legacy, man, that I think got cut short. I'll be honest for you. Between the weight cutting issues and then going up to featherweight, it basically is just saying cow to pasture.
I think he was just the best one when Dominic Cruz was hurt. And
But what does that say? Jesus Christ, Dominic Cruz hasn't been fighting or hasn't been healthy in the last 3 years, and you got guys like TJ, Cody Garbrandt, Munoz, Peter Yan coming up. I mean, there's some guys that could take Dominic Cruz down just as easy.
Yeah.
Renan Barão was way ahead of his time, and so was Dominic.
yeah, I'm just saying I think Renan Barão was a champion because Dominic Cruz was hurt. I don't think he was ever the best
Renan Barão
guy.
back in his prime could have beat Dominic Cruz.
I think they fought and Dominic Cruz won after coming off of years of being hurt.
That's my point. I don't know. I don't fucking think Renan Barão was that damaged already by that time. I think
Dominic Cruz was.
I know, but Renan Barão had been waiting around. I think when he was doing the shit that he was doing, I think he would have cleaned up Dominic, especially as early in his career. If you watch from WEC days, Dominic fought similar to what he does now, but nowhere near then. Completely different fighter than he was.
He was the best back then, dude.
Maybe.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
That's
Okay, we'll see how long he had his belt with injuries. Once Cody came in and made an example of him, I think Renan Barão would have done the same thing back in the day when he was younger and in his prime, not hurt, and Renan was in there also. Renan went out of his prime real quick. Weight cutting issues. Fucking getting fights and visas issue.
A long time ago. We'll look at that later.
Okay, happy to.
All right, so that's everything that's been announced recently. But let's go ahead and talk about this weekend's fight. It's UFC 245. We got 3 title fights on it. I think maybe only the third time they've ever had 3 title fights on the card.
Yeah, I think that was the stat today.
Headlining fight is Kamaru Usman and Colby Covington. I guess we just start with who you got.
Yeah, man. I'm picking Covington just because ever since watching the Robbie Lawler fight with the volume, the cardio, the nonstop pressure, I know what Usman did to Woodley, taking over the wrestling. Obviously stronger cardio, everything else. I think Colby will continue to play that game with Usman, but he will figure out a way to tag Usman enough or literally tag Usman to get a knockdown. I don't think as much of wrestling and grappling that we've thought all year would happen. If he can do what he did to Robbie, I don't think Usman's hands and his speed, even as fast as he is, will be able to take down the amount of volume punches that Colby lands like he did on Robbie.
Yeah, it was an incredibly impressive performance against Robbie. But I think Kamaru's was equally impressive against Tyron.
Because Tyron was such a titan.
Yeah, I mean, no one was beating Tyron Woodley at that time. And I don't know. I got Kamaru Usman winning. I don't think it gets finished. I think Kamaru has enough power to knock out Colby, but I don't think he will. I don't think Colby has the power to knock out Kamaru. Their grappling game isn't for getting submissions; it's for beating people up. And I don't know, that it is not uncommon when you have 2 guys who are just grapplers to not grapple when they fight each other. So I
Damian Maia versus Ben Askren.
Yeah, that was a stand-up fight.
Yeah. Throwing the leather.
So yeah, man.
It doesn't look just like the Nate Diaz Masvidal lineup. We both had decisions going on both, and then we have a doctor stoppage that ends up being a TKO. Like, that's the type of shit that can happen on these type of fights. But I don't think it's going to be as much of a grueling, drag-out wrestling fight that everybody
is how I
thinks.
envision it, but
I see more hands and more violent strikes.
And Colby's
You
hands,
never know, though. They never stop.
Robbie.
They never stop.
So yeah, that'll be the headliner. That'll be interesting. That I certainly hope Colby wins. But I'm picking all of the champions to retain their titles. I think all three will on this card.
And Dave Tanner on the other end is going the reverse. I believe that 2 belts are going to be traded this night, and we'll get to talk about that here.
So the one belt that I think is the biggest danger of being traded is my boy Max Holloway against Volkanovski.
I knew you were going to say that. I've been contemplating and thinking about that all day.
I don't want to bet on this fight. I just want to root for him. Max, this is as much of a chance of losing his title as I think he's ever had. The second time he fought Aldo, I was pretty convinced he was going to beat him. Ortega, I wasn't as worried about as this. Frankie, I was certain he was going to win that fight. But this one, Alex Volkanovski is a different animal in this weight class.
Well, he's also a different person because he weighed 214 pounds at one point at a 5'7" frame. I mean, This is a dude that has been a brick shit house, has had weight on him. He's stronger than hell. Max has fought some wrestlers, but, Frankie Edgar wrestling compared to a guy that was 212 pounds is different. I'm the same way. I almost wanted to be disrespectful and pick Alexander Volkanovski and pick that as my bet.
Yeah.
But for sheer respect to Max Holloway, the blessed, I think everything that's being talked about, they're talking about his slurred speech again, that he's looking a little slower and sleepy. I don't think he's having weight cutting issues. I don't think he's having nutrition options. I think Max goes into this fight like any other and pieces him up enough that eventually maybe Volkanovski does something dangerous and gets caught because this is his first time in a big boy fight. Because honestly, you look at his rap sheet, besides the Aldo win, he's not blowing the doors off of guys that have fought Holloway before, like Aldo. You beat Aldo back to back.
And who knows where Aldo's at right now?
And nobody knows where Aldo's at right now. So at the end of the day, you have guys that are proven that they can back their game up. Having Aldo, Frankie Edgar, and even Brian Ortega, as young as he is, on your repertoire that you just beat in the last year and a half, that's fucking monstrous. You beating Jose Aldo as he's now dropped down to bantamweight doesn't hold as much water for me, for Volkanovski. But I also know that Volkanovski is nowhere near anybody that Max has ever fought. He's way above size, strength, and overall
He'll be
whatever.
Different. He'll be different.
He'll be
than
completely
anyone.
different.
Yeah.
But I got all the faith in the world that Max might catch him.
Yeah, I think Max's game is we haven't really seen power. I guess would be his weakness. That's what it looked like against Poirier.
Yeah, he's
like power was his weakness.
Strength only goes so far with him.
Volkanovski has the power, but his hand speed, his boxing is always been great. So I do hope he wins that one. And then Amanda Nunes, Jermaine Duran, to me, that's the final championship fight. Amanda Nunes coming in as a big favorite on this one, and you're picking the upset.
I am. And the only reason I'm picking the upset is because I have seen no social media or any interviews barely at all on Duran to me. And what that shows to me is that she is in there murdering it in the gym, ready to try to do shocking things as somebody else that's done shocking things. And I'm not saying Amanda Nunes is doing the Rousey, doing movies or everything else. I think a girl you don't see out there is the girl that's scarier. The girl that's in there doing wild shit in the gym that nobody knows about. I think she might surprise Amanda like Amanda has surprised her foes, but we'll see.
Let's see, Marlon Moraes and Jose Aldo. So we will get to see what Jose Aldo looks like at bantamweight. And this is a hell of a fight. A year ago, if this fight had been made, it would have been a super fight.
Oh, yeah.
But right now, it's behind 3 fights on the card.
Dude, just thinking the legacy of Jose Aldo and the things that he's done in his weight class, let alone just the sport in general and how he was always known as that name, and then to drop at this age in his life, like everybody knows. And by the way, I'm not dropping to a joker. I'm dropping to the #1 contender who lost to Henry Cejudo, who was a world beater for the last 2.5 months in the bantamweight division. and now I'm going to go down and fight his territory.
Yeah, Marlon Rice has looked fantastic, except for that, and even in that Cejudo fight in the beginning.
Oh, the beginning. He just too much body mass and burn out.
So we will see. Jose Aldo's coming in as a plus 160 favorite, and Marlon Rice is the minus 200 underdog. And you got Jose Aldo winning this one.
I got a lot of faith in him, man. I've been talking on Twitter, openpodcast.com, on there telling people, I think Jose's going to surprise everybody. Jose is not depleting himself for these last months on water weight. He's actually lost weight. He's losing fat. He's getting trimmer. I don't think this cut's going to be as bad as what people think. And when he rehydrates, this might be one of the strongest man that Marlon has experienced in that arena, because Jose already struggled to get to 145. So who knows?
Yeah, we'll see what he is at bantamweight. I'm not expecting to be the same Jose Aldo that we've seen in the past, but he's not old yet. He's just been around doing it for forever.
Yep.
Petr Yan and Uriah Faber, another bantamweight fight. Petr Yan was calling for a interim fight with Aljamain. That didn't happen. Aljamain had to have surgery or something, but this Uriah Faber fight at least gives him a big name he can beat.
Huge.
And doesn't, I mean, I guess he probably stays in the same position. Uriah Faber, on the other hand, if he comes in, knocks out Ricky Simón in 30 seconds, and then comes in and beats Petr Yan, he probably gets a title fight next.
That's the best part about it. I told you. I wanted to see this textbook story of the year. Uriah Faber's going to come back at 40 and rip through this 30 to 32-year-old monster age bracket, some of them younger than that, 27, 28, bantamweight division, and show these guys 40 is just a fucking number, and I'm putting guys away. So that's why I'm betting on him. I got a shit ton of money to win on this. He's a plus 350 right now. So this is a monster upset, but the thing is, nobody thought he had a chance against Ricky Simón. Petr Yan's absolutely an animal, and he's ripped through the ranks. Uriah Faber's doing the same thing. He's just a little bit older. It ain't no difference at this point.
I think it's going to be tough to stop Faber. I'm picking Yan by decision, but I could see a late knockout here. I think 40 is more than just a number.
Nice.
Matt Brown fighting Ben Saunders.
The fucking matriarchs of the division.
Probably patriarchs, dude.
No, matriarchs.
So yeah, we both got Matt Brown in this one. I think he's probably going to finish it. He's such a violent fighter. It should be a fun one to watch. Yeah. And then Jeff Neal and Mike Perry. And I'm actually going to take Jeff Neal as my first bet of the evening.
Nice.
He is a big favorite. I don't see a way Mike Perry wins this fight. I think Jeff Neal's too good.
Jeff Neal's too fast and too violent, and that's saying that against Mike Perry. And I mean, Mike Perry just come off of that ridiculous brawl with Vicente.
Right.
Who knows how much damage? Who knows how much preparation, recovery he's had? Jeff Neal's fucking good. There's a reason he was ranked, and there's a reason that he came back into the rankings, because the guy's always right here on the cusp. So, hey man, if Mike Perry can get another fucking Luque fight, he's never not going to get fights signed up. He's just going to be that guy that wants to he's the new Diego Sanchez. He keeps it up, honestly, in that division.
Or Vanderlei Silva.
Yeah, guys that are like, I don't care what happens. I'm going to go toe-to-toe, and I might win, I might not, but you're going to watch me again. Then you have somebody like Jeff Neal that's like, dude, I've been battling this fucking water shark pond here for a while. Let's go straight in, knocking out Mike Perry.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to knock out Mike Perry, but I think he wins by decision. And Brendan Moreno and Kai Kara France, another big fight. This is the flyweight division. I think Kai has looked fantastic lately, and I'm picking him.
Yeah.
You've got another underdog on this one, Brendan Moreno.
Hey, man, I always go root for the underdogs. Brandon Moreno is a guy that he's had some big fights drop through. He's super young. This kid has fought pretty much the caliber of what Kaya has fought the last year, so he's got a little bit of experience on him. I like Brandon Moreno just to get in there and make it dirty and find a play to make. So I'm going to say that he's going to make an upset, make a little money.
And then the last card we got with ranked fighters is Jessica Ai and Viviane Araújo. Jessica Ai is coming off of that head kick kill shot against Shevchenko. She's coming in as a plus 145 underdog as the number 2 contender. Viviana Araújo, since she's got into the UFC, has looked dominant.
Yes.
She's ranked 6th, but she is a minus 175 favorite, and I'm taking her as my second bet. I've got a lot of confidence after watching her in the last couple fights, and who knows what Jessica Ai will look like now that she knows her championship. She's not close to the championship, and she's coming off that head kick knockout.
So I had a bet today earlier against you with Jessica Ai. I was going to bet on her, and I just rewatched that Shevchenko head shin to the dome, and I'm like, no, I don't think she's ready.
I'm not putting faith in that.
I'm not putting faith after a knockout, because I wouldn't put faith in myself after a knockout like that. And when I saw that, I'm like, Viviane is very sharp, young, and basically the same type of fighter that Jessica is. I think she dominates her in it. And plus, if you got any problems from that last knockout, that's not going to help you here.
And then 2 weeks out, December 21st, Fight Night Korea. I think this is an afternoon card.
Yes.
Headlined by now Korean Zombie and Frankie Edgar. It was going to be Korean Zombie and Brian Ortega, and I was so excited for that fight. This card would have been a disaster if they didn't replace him with someone. They were able to get Frankie.
Oh, it's a 5 a.m. card.
Early morning card.
Yeah, very early card.
It's still a fun fight, though. Korean Zombie and Frankie are both fun fights, no matter who they're fighting, and when they're fighting each other.
Not mad at it.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I feel like for forever I'm going to tie Zombie and Yair together because of that fight. But we saw what Frankie did to Yair not too long ago.
Took his eye away.
We'll get to see what Korean Zombie can do against Frankie. We've both got Zombie winning this by decision. I mean, Frankie doesn't get finished. I know it happened. It did happen one time, but I don't think he's going to make a habit of it.
No.
Max couldn't put him away, and Korean Zombie, I don't think he will either, but I think he'll pour it on him.
Yep. I think the volume, exactly like you said, I think just where he's at right now, he's on complete level to being top-ranked opponent tomorrow.
Co-main event is Alexander Rakic and Volkan Oezdemir. Last time we saw Rakic, he pretty much did what Shevchenko did to Jessica Ai to Jimmy
Manuwa. Really bad.
He hit the ground hard.
And retirement after that.
Yeah,
he retired him, unfortunately.
So Rakic has got some momentum coming behind him. He's been finishing people quick, but just like you said, there's people out here that can beat Dominic Reyes who are not close to John Jones. I think Volkan Oezdemir is probably one of those guys.
Oh, absolutely.
He did just probably beat him, and I think that he is as deserving of a next title shot as anyone else, and I don't think Rakic is. That's why I'm picking Oezdemir. I think he's too experienced. He's only fought the cream of the crop since he's been into the UFC, and I think Rakic has not fought anyone of this caliber yet.
No, that's a great bet on that. I got Rakic actually winning this by decision. I don't know why. For some reason, I feel like he will be able to pop shot and keep the distance on Volkan, and they'll get in a couple scrambles. But, yeah, I don't have a ton of confidence in a kid that's not been in the UFC as long as Volkan and faced the caliber guys. But, again, light heavyweight division is not that far off of being a one-touch pony where all it takes is one shot.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
we've seen it.
Vulcan was that way.
No time.
Yeah.
That's he ain't got time for it.
There are some heavy hitters in that light heavyweight division. Alexander Pantoja and Matt Schnell. You're picking the underdog in this fight as well.
I just like his ground submission game and the way he plays. His last fight, he had a terrific choke. Pantoja, fuck. After his last fight against Figueiredo, I was like, good God. Like, this guy just takes a punch.
Yeah.
How do you put him away? There's an easy way. You can't move when you're getting choked out. There's a better guy to do that, Matt Schnell. He's not going to be stupid and get no brawl, so I'm going to make him my bet, plus get a little coin.
Yeah, you get plus 155 on that one. And Choi Do-ho, and we both got him winning against Charles Jourdain.
You gotta love Choi, man. He's coming back. I mean, look at the last couple fights he's had. Fucking, dealing with Jeremy Stevens brawl. I think Duo Choi, man, to be honest with you, is going to have performance or fight of the night, because name a fight that you don't enjoy with him. His Cub Swanson fight,
that was
Jesus
a fantastic
Christ.
Fight.
Then he goes Jeremy Stevens, which he took more damaging punches in that fight and didn't make it. And you're like, okay, well, maybe he can't do this anymore. It's like, no, this guy does this every fight style. He finishes guys in the first round or gets finished himself.
Yeah, but exactly. They're always fun to watch. So yeah, that's the 21st, and then the next card will be the end of the year. So we'll try and catch you before then.
Sounds good. That was a quick